My Gundam friends, we just got the ban list, and I was right. Corsica Base got hit. It was limited to 2, and still some people think that this is not a big deal, and sorry, but you're wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why. This nerf is bigger than you think. It's not gonna, destroy blue-purple. That's not what I'm saying, but people are saying that this did nothing. And guys, there's a lot going on here, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain all of it. If you're one of the people that thinks that this absolutely did nothing, hopefully that this ends up, by the end of this video, you're able to get more of an understanding on why this is, at least going forward, honestly, a pretty big deal. So right here, I have, the website pulled up. I just want to read what Bandai has actually said if you haven't seen it yet. Gundam card game rules permit up to 4 copies of a card with the same number to be included in the deck, but there are occasions, such as official or sanctioned tournaments, where certain cards will be designated as banned or restricted. When a card is banned, that means that not even 1 copy of that card can be included in either your deck or your sideboard, and when a card is restricted, that means that only a specified number of copies of that card may be included in your deck and your sideboard. For example, a card listed as restricted to 2 may have no more than 2 copies included in your deck and your sideboard combined. Going forward, we expect to revise this banned and restricted list once every 6 months. That's very important, while continuing to keep a close eye on the game meta. Local tournament schedules or similar considerations may influence the date on which these revisions are enacted. Also, very important, that means emergency ban lists are on the table. We are now announcing the ban and restricted card list that will go into effect as of April 1st, 2026 on April Fools. That would be crazy if they just rickrolled all of us with this, but so banned cards, no additions, nothing is banned. Restricted cards, we have, as I had said in my previous video, the Corsica Base, restricted to 2. It was the only one I thought that was gonna get hit. I think it was the only one that has a valid argument to be hit, and apparently Bandai also agrees. They have said, which I think this is awesome, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Never did this, to where they would tell you why they hit the card. They just hit the card and just expect you to figure it out. They never tell you. But this is amazing. So kudos to Bandai for this. This is awesome. Originally designed as a base capable of deploying unit tokens as attackers while protecting the player throughout the game, Corsica Base exhibits a strong influence on game outcomes that has exceeded our expectations. This card is included in a majority of decks using blue, and these decks have a high win percentage. No, really? We are adding it to the list as restricted to 2 in order to reduce its use in many faster decks, particularly blue-purple, and create more diversity in the meta. We recognize that 3 copies of this. This is basically saying that if you're playing any sanctioned events with the starter deck, you're still going to be able to use the 3 copies if it's just contained to that. However, there's another important line here. And this is my bigger overarching thing about this hit. We are adding this to the list in order to what? Reduce its use in many faster decks. This isn't just for blue-purple. This is an overall aggro hit. This is blue-purple. This is 1 Year War. This is red-blue aggro control Merida, whatever the heck, however you build that thing. My build is aggro, and that one's still coming. It's being edited. It just takes longer, and this is kind of an emergency video. I had to put this out. But obviously, Corsica Base is the main base of choice for all of those decks. It is the aggro base for the aggro decks. This completely lowers aggro ceiling across the board. People are complaining, blockers, 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 aggro, aggro. This didn't get rid of aggro, it just took the ceiling and the sackiness of a super overtuned archetype that people are able to play because it, basically takes advantage of the resource system and brings that ceiling just a little bit lower. It doesn't kill aggro. Aggro is going to be fine. I'm still going to play my deck. I'm put 2 white bases in there and I'm going to enjoy it. And now the people at the beginning of the video heard me say that I said it is a bigger deal than you think. And they said it's not a big deal. Like, okay, well, if you're just going to put 2 white bases in, if you have 2 Corsicas available now, well, why are you saying that it's not a big deal for you? Well, white base is still a good base, right? The thing of why this is a bigger deal is because all of those games that you get sacked Because you get sacked by Corsica. You just don't realize it. In the same way that people like, you get sacked by Kira over and over again through the game because he's AP -2ing you on either a sword strike or a nail strike or a freedom or whatever the heck Kira's linked to, a freaking Lifrith, God bless your soul if that's happened to you. But that stacks up over time. It's not as flashy as when you throw an Amuro underneath a thing, it tilts a blocker, and then boom, you lose a game from it. Corsica Base is kind of a similar thing to Kira in that respect. Yes, you throw out a Tallgeese. Yes, you throw out these Leos. These things can get pinged to living heck. I get it. All range attack exists. G-Fred exists. Kshatriya, Marita. I get it. I'm a ping player. Trust me, I know. I know. However, as a ping player, I don't want to have to use my pings on stupid Leos and a dumb Tallgoose, bro. I don't want to have to do that. It feels bad to do that when there's a more imposing threat on the board. These things are just fodder, and unfortunately you have to deal with it. And what people are not realizing is that's gonna add up. The fact that you have 2 Corsica bases now means that obviously you are only going to have your option to get the 1 Tallgeese and to get the 1 Leo, and that's considering if you don't burst into this thing and you completely whiff, because now Corsica Base can whiff pretty hard. This is a bigger hit than you realize. You have lost games to Corsica Base without realizing it because you had to expend resources at an opportune time that you did not really want to do. You were forced to answer it, and now you don't have to do that. I think Red Blue is going to get even better, even though Red Blue is using Corsica Base. Because now you're not going to have to try to ping those things. You could say the same thing for Barbatos Adapt. Barbatos Adapt could ping this and ping that, sure. However, this is affecting all aggro decks. So the whole ceiling of anything that plays Corsica Base, which all aggro decks are playing Corsica Base, it lowers. Because now, also in the late game, you can't triple Corsica somebody on low resources when it seems like the control player or the person in the late game has it all tied up and someone's like, boom, boom. Or just honestly boom once and you get 2 Leos. 2 Leos, like, turn 7 and onwards is honestly, it's frustrating. You have to deal with that. It's almost like when someone drops a G-Quux Saikamu with the suppression, just hard drops that thing, does 3 damage, and they have to deal with it. They either have to rest it with Amuro, they have to take it out. You have to respect it. Same thing with these weenies. Yeah, they're weenies, but when they come out that late in the game for such a low cost and you get a base, you gotta respect it. You have to. Now, since we only have 2, it's a lot easier to be able to maneuver around this stuff. And like I said, Corsica Base is gonna whiff. The other thing people don't realize is that you're gonna see Corsica Base less. You have 2 copies in a deck versus 50 cards, versus when you had 4 copies in a deck versus 50 cards. Those are completely different odds of even ever seeing the dang card. And I don't think people realize that all of these things stack up, and you're gonna be able to see, I think as time goes on, that this is gonna affect things more than you realize. Just this hit. Now, what you're not gonna see right now, I don't think, is that Blue-Purple Barbatos is gonna be completely dead, it's gonna be completely out of the water. No, the deck's, it's gonna stay here, it's gonna still have prevalence, it's still gonna be a good deck. And I think it's still, people are still probably gonna play it even more than before because people are obstinate and they have defiant natures and they're like, oh, you hit my Corsica Base, so I'm still gonna make this deck work. So Blue-Purple ain't going anywhere. We're gonna see plenty of it. It's fine. The deck, I think, is fine. However, I think people playing against the deck are gonna start realizing that they're not gonna get cheated out of games as much. And I think the Blue-Purple players, after they come down off of this, high of either overcompensating for, the fact that Corsica Base got hit and we're gonna play it more and see what else we can make it work because we've invested all this money into blinged out Blue-Purple decks, whatever it is, I think they're gonna start to realize that, oh wow, this actually does affect, my power ceiling, like how high I can go. And it's because Corsica Base is really sacky. It's a sacky card. And like I said, it forces people to answer things. And it forces people to answer things that are already on the board. Now, let's go into White Base. Let's talk about White Base. White Base is the choice pick to replace Corsica Base, and I would also agree. I think White Base is a great base. I think it's amazing. However, it's not, you play it on curve at turn 3 and you get a free unit on turn 3. You can't pay 4 resources on turn 3, unless you're ramping. I don't think anyone's gonna be playing White Base with a ramp deck. If you are, post the list, I'd love to see it. That'd be interesting. However, you have white base and you have to pay 2 to play it out. You have to pay 2 to play the unit, and then the unit that you get is different based on the board state. So that's another level of inconsistency that's here. Now, obviously, the best case scenario, you play white base for 2 on curve, and then maybe on honestly, your turn 4 curve isn't bad to play a white base and then throw a Gundam token, a 3/3. If you don't have, Gundam and Amuro to be able to link, that's honestly pretty solid. A 3/3 like that for free to where you're saving your card economy and you don't have to expend anything is great. That's the good thing about white base, is you have more card economy. You're not wasting cards, you're not wasting weenies to do stuff. And in the same way that the tokens have to get answered for Corsica, white base has to get answered because white base is the one creating the tokens. So this creates an interesting dichotomy to look at. You have Corsica looking at the tokens. You don't answer Corsica base. You answer the tokens that Corsica base creates. When you look at white base, you're not really trying to answer the tokens that white base creates. You're trying to kill the white base so it doesn't create more tokens, because that's not good. So what is required of those 2 scenarios? To get rid of the units for the Corsica base, you're usually probably gonna have to ping them off, or you're gonna have to trigger an Ale Strike or a Sword Strike effect to get rid of them, right? Unless you swing into them, which you're probably not going to, because I don't think, most of the time you're not swinging into a Tall Geese or a Leo. A lot of the time they're getting pinged or getting returned. But if you have to swing, it doesn't feel good when you gotta do that. Again, you have to answer those tokens. However, white base, you can kill the white base. You can attack into that. That's not gonna cost more resources for you to attack. One more swing is less of an investment in the game to get rid of the base than it is to waste your pings or your very valuable when paired Ale Strike effects to get rid of these tokens. So I hope you're beginning to understand and put these pieces together and see the argument for why Corsica base is a good hit. Did I think it needed to get hit? No. I think the game still would have been fine if Corsica base didn't get hit. We just need better cards overall. Corsica base isn't the reason why this game feels like booty cheeks. I've already talked about it. It's because of bad cards. It's because of inconsistency. It's because this isn't best of 3. Hope that comes. Anyway, I don't feel one way or another about Corsica base getting hit. I don't. It could have stayed 4. I really wouldn't have cared. It's at 2. I really don't care. But what I'm trying to explain here in this video is that it's a bigger deal than you really realize, and people saying that this is going to do nothing and the meta is not going to change. I'm sorry, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. You just don't know what you're talking about. And the fact of the matter is that this is gonna, I mentioned again, this is for 6 months. This ban list is gonna be in effect for 6 months unless there's an emergency ban list at some point. What are we getting in 6 months? We're getting set 4, we're getting set 5, we're getting the SD thing. I guess that's a new set. I don't know if we're getting another set or what other new cards. I don't remember the pipeline off the top of my head, but we're getting at least 3 new sets of cards going into the card pool, and maybe another one in like a starter deck or something. There's a lot of cards that are going to enter the card pool between now and when the next ban list is going to be able to show up. So why does that matter? Because Corsica base is a preemptive hit on the rest of aggro and aggro strategy. So as these new cards come out that are going to basically help tune all these other different strategies to where aggro is not going to be so prevalent, this is a step in the right direction towards that. Again, I don't think it needed to get hit. I think other cards being printed in general is the bigger thing that's gonna fix this. That's gonna fix this game and make it feel better and less sacky and less insanely luck-based. But Corsica base definitely was not helping. It was not helping. So I think that this hit is going to age like fine wine over time. And by the time 6 months turns around, maybe Corsica base will be fine and we'll be able to have it back at 4 copies again. But the way I see this hit is this was, we had to rein something in. Something had to get reined in a little bit because, the meta is too fast. There's a lot of really cool decks that, yes, you can play them, but it's not as consistent for you to pop off. It's just not. Now, with this, any of those times when you're playing those decks that might not have the most favorable matchup against an aggro deck, you're you're not gonna get a game stolen out of you in the middle of, you know, whatever it is from this card. And this game is Saki, I mean, this card is Saki and can steal those games from you, I'm sure, as you know. You can't disagree with that, you just can't. So the fact that that's gonna happen less because of all of the reasons I described is why I think that, you know, this hit is fine. I think it's fine, and I think the meta is going to end up shifting, not immediately. This isn't a ban list that is gonna make the meta shift today, tomorrow, but it is gonna make it shift, and I think that if you watch for these things over time, and you pay attention to things I've discussed in this video, you're gonna end up seeing kind of the fruits of what this hit does, and yeah, I mean, hopefully, maybe I'll be able to predict the next hit to this ban list also, again, but I mean, to me, this was just kind of the only one that could get hit. There's no way you're gonna hit Amuro, no way you're gonna hit any of these other things. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Just wanted to make this. This is probably gonna be not edited very much. Maybe it is. I just wanted to make this really quickly because this came out and I've already been seeing people talking about whatever it is. I'm probably gonna get crucified for this thing having clickbait or whatever it is, but this is YouTube. Get over clickbait. If you don't want clickbait, don't watch YouTube. Watch Tubi. Goodbye.